Hello students. In last class we have discussed about types of tissue systems. In that we have covered epidermal tissue system. So tissue system. Tissue system is a group of different types of tissues which are arranged, which are organized in different parts of the plant, and all of them, wherever they are present in the plant body, they perform the same function. Say for example, epidermis, which is present in the stem, is protective in function, and when it is present in the root, leaf, and fruit, flowers, etc., wherever it is present, its function is to protect the underlying tissues only. So in this way, different types of tissues which together perform the same function wherever they are present in the plant organ constitute tissue system. In that three types epidermal tissue system we have studied in detail. So next type of tissue system is ground tissue system. So this ground tissue system consists of usually cortex, endodermis, pericycle, pith, medullary rays, etc. So the third type is vascular tissue system, which usually consists of vascular bundles, xylem and phloem. So let us see today in detail about ground tissue system, that is cortex, endodermis, pericycle and all. So let us see. So ground tissue system extends from epidermis to the center of the plant organ, both in root as well as in stem. If we see its anatomy, so ground tissue system forms bulk of the plant body. So why? Because bulk of the plant body consists of cortex, pith, endodermis, pericycle and all. In stem, root and in other parts of the plant, leaves also. So ground tissue system forms the bulk of the plant body. So all these parts are occupied by ground tissue system only, ground tissues only. So ground tissue system can be studied under different subheadings such as cortex, pericycle, primary medullary rays and pith. So see here, if we see anatomy of root, to see the parts of ground tissue or tissues of ground tissue system. Now let us see cortex. So again cortex is differentiated into outer hypodermis, general cortex and endodermis. So cortex ends in endodermis. Next starts pericycle. So pericycle is also a part of ground tissue only. This pericycle is parenchymatous, and in case of plants, lateral roots arise from pericycle, which are involved in absorption of water. So next central part is the stele, which consists of usually vascular bundles, which is mainly concerned with conduction of water and food. Stele. So let us see cortex in detail. So what is the structure of cortex and what kind of cells constitute cortex and all its function, we will see in detail. Cortex lies between epidermis and pericycle, because cortex may be parenchymatous totally. Usually it is parenchymatous. Sometimes few layers of cortex just beneath the epidermis may be sclerenchymatous or cholenchymatous based on the type of organ. In case of dicot stem, a few layers of cortex lying just beneath the epidermis are cholenchymatous, and they may be rich in chloroplast and they perform mechanical function as well as photosynthesis in such case. So cortex lies between epidermis to pericycle. In case of hydrophytes, this cortex is erenchymatous. So the cells of parenchyma are arranged, leaving large intercellular spaces or air spaces or air chambers, which are filled with air to provide buoyancy or to make the plant afloat or to make the stem rather lighter. So these are different functions and structures of cortex as such. Next, general cortex which lies beneath the hypodermis. So hypodermis is outermost layers of cortex which are sclerenchymatous or collenchymatous. Next starts thin walled parenchymatous cortex which is the bulk of cortex, and these cells of parenchyma in general cortex are concerned with storage of food material, and they are involved in lateral conduction of water when we see the absorption of water in roots in case. So cortex ends in endodermis. So endodermis is single layered, which is usually with Casparian strips. So we will see next in detail. So within the general cortex, sometimes in some species of plants, oil lenticephorous cells are present. So under special tissue or lenticephorous tissue, we have studied different types of secretions which are secreted by these special tissue cells. So these special tissues are present within the cortex itself. So oil ducts in case of citrus and in case of eucalyptus, etc. So they are found in the cortical region itself. So lenticephorous cells also occur within the cortical region of the stem and so these are the main locations or places of these oil ducts, lenticephorous cells, etc., which are usually found in the cortex only. See here, to show the cortical region in anatomy of root, that is Zea mays monocot root. Here you can see outermost layer epidermis. Next to epidermis there are few layers of sclerenchyma which constitute hypodermis, which is the outer part of cortex only. So next to hypodermis there is general cortex which is totally parenchymatous, multi-layered, and this general cortex is ending in single layered endodermis. So endodermis is prominent in case of roots because they act as a water dam or air dam. They check the entry of water to the pith and air bubbles to vessels, xylem vessels. So this is the cortical region in case of monocot root. So in dicot stem we have studied there is hypodermis. Next to epidermal layer there are few layers of collenchyma which are rich in chloroplast, constitute hypodermis. They give mechanical support as well as they perform photosynthesis in case of dicot stem. So in sunflower and in cucurbita, etc., we have studied. So when the epidermis is ridged and furrowed, in such case these collenchyma tissues are confined to ridges, and innermost layer of cortex is endodermis. So endodermis is a single layer, and it after endodermis starts the pericycle. So cells of endodermis possess suberin thickenings or Casparian thickenings or bands in the radial and tangential walls. Next, in case of monocotyledons, there is no differentiation of cortex and endodermis. So the tissue present below the epidermis is known as general ground tissue only. There is no differentiation of this ground tissue into hypodermis or general cortex and endodermis. So in this general ground tissue, the vascular bundles are scattered in case of monocot stems. So in such case, the cells of this cortex or ground tissue store food materials, and if they are rich in chloroplast, they perform photosynthesis. Next, come to endodermis, we will see in detail. So endodermis is the single layered parenchymatous cells, which is the last layer of cortex, general cortex. The cells of endodermis are barrel shaped, oval or elliptical in shape, and sometimes in dicot stem, for example, the cells of endodermis are studded with or filled with starch grains. So therefore this endodermis often known as starch sheath in case of dicot stems. As I told you, endodermis is distinct in roots, and its outer tangential walls and radial walls are thick due to deposition of suberin, and these thickenings of suberin in these walls are known as Casparian thickenings or Casparian bands, which is according to the name of the scientist Caspari, who for the first time found these thickenings in these cells. So Casparian thickenings or Casparian bands, which are the suberin thickenings in the endodermal cells, tangential, outer tangential and radial walls. So in the epidermis, endodermis, the cells lying just opposite to vascular bundles in case of roots. In case of roots, the cells of endodermis lying quite opposite to vascular bundles are thin walled, which are known as passage cells. So in the endodermis, most of the cells possess Casparian bands, and very few cells lying opposite to vascular bundles are thin walled cells without suberin thickenings, known as passage cells. Through these passage cells, so conduction of water and minerals takes place from cortex to xylem, vascular bundles. So here endodermis acts as water dam or air dam. So water which is conducted from which is absorbed first from root hair and which passes through the different layers of cortex, and ultimately it reaches endodermis. So here at endodermis, through these passage cells only the entire water passes and enters the xylem, because passage cells lie quite opposite to vascular bundles. Therefore, other cells of endodermis, they check the entry of water and entry of these air bubbles inside the steam. So endodermis main function is, in case of roots, it is acting as a water dam or air dam. So here we can see the Casparian strips which can be observed in this diagram. So these are tangential walls. So you know tangential walls. So tangent is a line which does not pass through the center of the circle. Here these are the tangential walls which are usually lying laterally here. Radial tangential longitudinal walls also seen here, and Casparian strips, these are nothing but suberin thickenings. So this is endodermal layer which is enlarged here. Next part of ground tissue system is pericycle. So pericycle is usually single layered parenchymatous in roots which lies beneath the endodermis, even in stems also, sometimes in dicot stems and monocot stems also. Pericycle is sclerenchymatous and it may be multi-layered in the form of patches also. So in such case, if it is sclerenchymatous, it usually gives mechanical support to that stem. So In case of roots, pericycle is usually parenchymatous, single layered, because roots are underground. So sometimes during their penetration in different layers of soil, so the outer layers of cortex, endodermis and epidermis may be removed while penetrating in soil from the outer surface of roots. In such case, the loss of this root hair etc. will be compensated by this pericycle, and lateral roots develop from the pericycle. So these lateral roots naturally absorb water and minerals from the soil in such case. In case of dicot roots, where secondary growth takes place. So because in roots vascular cambium is totally absent, so secondary growth in case of dicot roots takes place by the activity of this pericycle. So pericycle becomes meristematic during secondary growth in dicot root, and it divides periclinally, few cells outer side and few cells inner side in this way. So secondary vascular bundles are formed, and the roots grow in size, and secondary growth in roots takes place. So here in case of dicot root, pericycle acts as vascular cambium, which contributes in secondary growth of dicot root. Next, primary medullary rays. So medulla or pith, which is the central part of the stem as well as root when we see its anatomy. So it is usually parenchymatous. So in between the vascular bundles in stem as well as in roots, so the extensions of medulla or pith which come out through these vascular bundles, a passage is present between vascular bundles, are known as primary medullary rays. These are the parenchyma cells between vascular tissues, or the extensions of pith which pass between vascular bundles, are known as primary medullary rays. So with respect to their function, they store water and food material. So here also you can see pith rays. So here these are two vascular bundles, and the central space which is occupied by these parenchyma cells and which is in continuation with pith is known as primary medullary ray. Next, pith or medulla, which we call, which is the central solid cylinder in stem and roots. It may be hollow sometimes. For example, in cucurbita stem, the cells of pith get obliterated or they die, and forming a cavity or hollow space at the center of the stem. Therefore, in cucurbita stem, the central part of the stem is hollow. When we take the transverse section, we can see. So in most of the plants species, the cells of pith usually store food material. Sometimes this pith region is sclerenchymatous also. In such case, it gives mechanical support to the plant body. Now here pith, which is parenchymatous, you can see here in this diagram. So this is the sector enlarged here, sector of dicot stem anatomy, where we can see cuticle, epidermis and all. So these are all epidermal tissue system parts. So with respect to ground tissue system, we can see here cholenchyma. Cholenchyma is a part of cortex, and chlorenchyma, then endodermis, which is also the last layer of cortex, then sclerenchyma, thus pericycle. As I told you, in dicot stems, pericycle is sclerenchymatous and multi-layered sometimes. which gives mechanical support, which lies just above the vascular bundles sometimes, or in some cases the sclerenchymatous pericycle is continuous all along the girth of the stem. And primary medullary rays parenchymatous. Next, pith, which is also parenchymatous. These are various parts of ground tissue system here in this diagram. Now next come to third type of tissue system, that is vascular tissue system. So as the name itself tells us that vascular tissue system, which consists of mainly vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem. These xylem and phloem bundles all constitute vascular tissue system, which are usually found in the stellar part of the stem and root. So vascular bundles consist of xylem and phloem. With respect to their arrangement, there are various types of vascular bundles which can be studied under vascular tissue system. So in case of stems, xylem and phloem tissues are together arranged within the same bundle, and which is known as conjoint vascular bundle. When the xylem and phloem bundles are arranged within the same bundle, it is known as conjoint, and when they are, this conjoint bundle is on the same radius, conjoint, and they are arranged side by side, they are collateral. And if there is no cambium in between xylem and phloem, conjoint xylem and phloem bundle, such vascular bundles are known as conjoint open vascular bundles. If vascular cambium is absent between xylem and phloem bundle, so it is open vascular bundle. If xylem and phloem are present, it is open. If xylem and phloem are absent, it is closed vascular bundle. When the cambium strip is present between xylem and phloem, we call it conjoint open vascular bundle. When the xylem and phloem are closely arranged without cambium, we call it closed vascular bundle. In case of dicot stem, vascular bundles are arranged in a ring. So such a type of stele is known as eostele. So almost 15 to 20 vascular bundles are arranged in the form of a circular ring. We call such type of stele eostele. So in dicot stem, vascular bundles are conjoint, collateral, open. Why? Because in dicot stem, secondary growth takes place, which is carried out by vascular cambium. This cambium which is present between xylem and phloem. In case of monocot stem, vascular bundles are closed without cambium between xylem and phloem. All vascular bundles are scattered throughout the ground tissue. Such type of stele is known as atactostele. And in case of roots, xylem phloem bundles are arranged separately on different radii. Such type of arrangement of vascular bundles in roots is known as radial arrangement, radial vascular bundles, because xylem bundle on one radius, phloem bundle on another radius and all of them are arranged alternate to each other. Xylem, phloem. These bundles are arranged on their own radius. So, no xylem, phloem are conjoined, they are not on the same radius. So, this is the characteristic feature of roots, all roots, that is radial vascular bundles. You can see here. Usually in conjoint vascular bundle in stem, phloem lies outer side towards epidermis and xylem lies towards pith inner side. So, if there is no cambium, it is closed. If there is cambium, it is open. In case of cucurbita stem and in others, on either side of xylem bundle, there are phloem bundles. On either side of xylem, there are phloem bundles and along with the cambium. So, phloem, inner phloem, cambium, xylem, then cambium and outer phloem. This is the arrangement of these two bundles of phloem with single xylem bundle along with the cambium. Such type of vascular bundles are known as bicollateral vascular bundles. Presence of two types of phloem, outer phloem, inner phloem with single bundle of xylem along with the cambium on either side of xylem. Bicollateral vascular bundle. So, here this is radial arrangement of xylem phloem bundles in case of a root. So, xylem is on one radius and phloem is on another radius. They are arranged alternate to each other. So, in concentric type of vascular bundles, usually xylem is surrounded by phloem or phloem is surrounded by xylem. So, in hydrocentric or amphicribral type, where xylem is at the center, hydrocentric. Hydro refers to water conducting tissue, that is xylem, which is present at the center. It is surrounded by phloem. So, the term given here is hydrocentric or amphicribral. And another type of concentric vascular bundle is leptocentric, where lepton is the phloem which is present at the center surrounded by xylem, vice versa to this hydrocentric. So, we call it amphivasal. For example, Dracaena stem. Amphivasal vascular bundles or leptocentric vascular bundles occur in Dracaena stem, and amphicribral or hydrocentric vascular bundles occur in ferns. These are different types of tissue systems we have studied today. Thank you.